All right, welcome to a special edition. Actually, they're all special. All the editions are special. The Horse Racing Happy Hour. Mike and Doffel here with Louie Mike. And we're going to go ahead and bring in the...
How special is it?
Well, it's special because we got our man. I think he's still...
Listen, man, I told people how we were... Oh, yes, it's biggest. Let's go. He said no like 7 requests in a row. So just 8th time the charm. Welcome in Dan Issel of Denver, Colorado. How are you?
I'm great. How are you all?
I'm good. So did you only say yes to get Louie off your back?
You still owe me a lunch.
Come to Kentucky. Let's go. You come back. When you come back, I'll take you to lunch. No?
Thank you.
Oh,
all right.
What about the $75 from Derby 2023?
You know the ironic part, guys?
Go ahead.
Mare that's in foal to mage.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, he's Dan Issel. He's the Hall of Famer. Joins us here on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Dan, it is the 1-year anniversary of something very cool in your family. We had your son on last year following him sweeping the pick 6 on which day, Dan?
On Whitney Day.
How about that? There you go. So a little Issel connection on Whitney Day. You like that?
Scott rolling in it after that one, man.
I thought about having Scott, and then I thought about ratings. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Scott might be all right for ratings.
Yeah, he's not bad for ratings. I'll tell you
He's-
that. I look back, not bad for ratings. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good stuff.
There you go.
Dan, we have been, it's been a topsy-turvy 3-year-old season. And we had the Jim Dandy. Fierceness comes through, gets the dub. I don't think that's really the story here. And I know we're going to watch the race here in just a little bit. What do you think of this 3-year-old class before we pull up this Jim Dandy replay?
That's a great question, Mike. They're all either really good or all really average. I still think, and I might be stupid for thinking this, I still think that Sierra Leone's the best 3-year-old, and he can't win a race. So I don't, he comes from way out of it, and so he is a victim or takes advantage of the pace, whichever it is. I cannot get behind Fearless. I just can't do it. He shows up so infrequently. Dornosh is a nice horse. Speaking about Mage, a full brother to Mage. He wins, but he sure doesn't win impressively. It wouldn't surprise me if Torpedo Annie didn't win the Travers.
Okay. I was interested, Dan. Do you think there's any chance? Because I want to ask this. Were you a big fan of Epicenter the year when he kept running second?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, does Sierra Leone have any kind of feeling of Epicenter? The big difference, I feel, is that Epicenter was at least involved in the pace of races, right? He was up near the front of those races.
Won a couple of them.
And then he ends up winning the Dandy and the Travers, right? So, I mean, that is different. But he runs second in the Travers here. This is why I asked. Is there a chance then the Sierra Leone actually turns it around and wins the Travers?
Yeah, I still, again, it's wide open. And I think any horse that steps up like Epicenter did in the Jim Dandy and the Travers and was 3-year-old champion, I still think that is out there for a handful of different horses.
Is it the case, though, that maybe that Sierra Leone is the best of this crop, but the other ones are so average that there's just not enough pace for him to run into? Like the pace just isn't there for him to really.
I think he's just so lax and so casual at the start of races that it's enough to cost him a length and a half, and he just doesn't win races.
Yeah.
Well, and plus he has that habit of lugging in, which cost him the Derby. I mean, he runs straight in the Derby. He wins by 2 lengths. And so, in the Jim Dandy, they got him over to the rail in the stretch so he couldn't drift in, but he still couldn't get to Fierceness. So it's going to be exciting to watch here on out. I mean, not only do we have the Jim Dandy, but we also have the Pennsylvania Derby. And then, I don't see the older division being a bunch of light out horses. We'll talk.
No, they're not at all.
In the Whitney. So it wouldn't surprise me if one of these 3-year-olds goes on and wins the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Real question for you, Dan, because you're in the breeding game, you're in the ownership game. With a horse like Sierra Leone, is because of the purchase price, $2 million plus, Is there going to be pressure on them to have him off to the breeding shed next year? Or do you think there's a chance they'll allow him like they did with Gunrunner, his dad, to actually run as a 4-year-old and have more success next year?
Louie, great point, because Gunrunner, I mean, we all know him as a great racehorse. I think he won like $15 million.
For sure.
And off to a tremendous start at stud. But he wasn't any better than any of these 3-year-olds when he was.
He wasn't.
And I think that's a great point. I think, to answer your question, I think if he wins the Travers and he wins the Breeders' Cup, I think he's gone. If he doesn't, then I think they run him again as a 4-year-old.
It could be one of those situations too where they just run him for the first half of the 4-year-old season. They get, maybe he goes over to Dubai, hits one of the big races
like
over
runs to
there,
the Pegasus or something like that.
and then hits a big purse, and then he's done.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
By the way, I should go back. I should point out that Epicenter won the Grade 2 Risen Star, the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby, the Grade 2 Jim Dandy, and the Grade 1 Travers. I don't want to make it seem as though that Sierra Leone's doing the same things as Epicenter. I understand the argument in his favor, but just an interesting, because Dan, you're not the only person that feels this way about Sierra Leone in this 3-year-old class.
No, not at all.
Yeah, again, he's obviously a great looking horse. He brought over $2 million as a yearling. And so he's a spectacular looking individual. And, what I don't like is this experimentation. I mean, they after the Derby, they ran him in a different bit, and that didn't work out. And then in the Jim Dandy, they tried something different. Obviously, he's a very talented horse that they're not getting them all. I go back to the Bluegrass. Early on at Keeneland in the spring, in April, it was a conveyor belt.
Yes.
And there were the first 2 weeks of racing, there were a handful of horses that came from off the pace. And he came from way off the pace to win the Bluegrass. So he's talented. I just don't think they think that they're getting his very top effort yet.
So what I heard is it's Tyler Gaffalione's fault. Okay, there you go. Right, how about that? Yeah, there you go. Little jockey change, Dan. How about that? Let's go ahead.
Well, and before we tee up this replay, I know we always talk about too, like, will the horse want to break away from the pack? I don't think that's the case with Sierra Leone. I don't think
No, I agree with that part.
But we got to mention a little bit about Caesar Gray going into this race as well, because he's another one that's very interesting from the breeding standpoint, just because the Arrogate's bloodline is so limited. So is racing more if he ends up finishing in the middle of the pack? Is it going to tarnish him? Like, when did they make the decision with him to get the highest value? It's best to send him to the breeding shed.
Yeah, he looks like another horse that kind of needs the race to fall exactly the way he wants it to fall. He's from a very talented family, and he's only going to get better. But I would expect he's another one, unless he pops up and wins the Travers or the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's another one that races as a 4-year-old.
All right, Zach, go ahead and let's look at this replay of the Jim Dandy here at Saratoga.
It's 5 lengths back to Seize the Gray, and Sierra Leone is launching his bid. He's coming swiftly on the outside. Here comes Sierra Leone, and the showdown we've been waiting for. Fierceness drifts out. Sierra Leone is coming at him, and in between them, Batten Down is running the race of his life. Sierra Leone hugs the rail. Fierceness, though, still has the lead at the 16th pole. They'll come for the wire, and it's still Fierceness. Fierceness is going to hold on. Fierceness has won the Jim Dandy, presented by Mohegan Sun.
There it was. And I think the thing with me on Seize the Gray here is, like, he was in a good spot coming at the stretch and had nothing.
Correct. No, that's right.
Had nothing.
That's right. As Dan said, I agree with Dan on this. He needs his way or he's not going to win these races.
Right.
That's right. Yep. He got his way in the Preakness. Pat Day-Mile set up for him just the right way. But no, not going to get that done in that kind of setup for sure. The other interesting horse in that race, Dan, that I'm interested in your opinion. Batten Down breaks his maiden, goes wins the Ohio Derby. They decided to run in this race. He finishes third, right? I thought he looked good. I wonder if he doesn't come in and bump Sierra Leone if he actually doesn't finish better. I think it kind of, I don't want to say it startled the horse, but it threw him off of his rhythm. And I wonder if he actually doesn't run better. I wonder what Bill Mott will do with him later this year, Dan.
Yeah, to finish third, doesn't he almost have to bring him back in the Travers? I would certainly hope so. I mean, I can't wait for the Travers. And in addition to the horses that we've mentioned and the fact that there'll be a filly in the race, it looks like Baffert might show up with Muth, who, let's not forget, in March was one of the top 3-year-olds in the country. So the Travers is going to be a spectacular race. I can hardly wait for it to get here.
Of course, Bob Baffert is free to last. Yeah, it's we're going to go on to the Bing Crosby, or we want to talk a little TBT and see if Dan's got any.
Yeah, I do need to ask this question, Dan. We had a question from some texters from different people who they love you. They certainly want to hear your opinions on horse racing, but there was an incident at Freedom Hall this week, Dan, where one player spat on another player. Dan, did anyone spit on you while playing at Freedom Hall, and what did you do to that person?
Nobody that lived to tell about it.
Honestly, did you ever see anyone spit on another person on the court?
Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys forget about the ABA. That was the rough and tumble professional basketball league. There were a lot of things that happened there. I don't know. If somebody, who was it that was spat on?
A UK player, Nate Sestina.
Yeah, Nate Sestina was spat on.
Remember talking about his bum behind when we were doing radio?
Did you all know? Because he was right before you.
I don't remember him ever playing for Kentucky.
He was on the team he transferred in for just the COVID year.
I think the year after, actually.
No, because he was in the short. He never got to play in the tournament.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in that short.
Well,
I might have been on that team that had like the 8-14. Yeah, he was a shortened season for sure.
No, that's emotions run hot, and I saw that the kid came out and apologized.
He did.
On social media. You would think, being a U of L player, he would be used to getting beat by Kentucky.
There it is.
That's right.
There it is.
Nothing changes. That's why
July, December.
I ended up.
You went, right?
Oh, I did, and I told you, like, Kentucky fans aren't that interested, and they weren't. I mean, that place was 80-20.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I only went because a U of L fan gave me a free ticket. So so I ended up going just because I was like, all right, let's go just see what it's like. And I'll tell you, the atmosphere was awesome. I mean, it was really the basketball was terrible. The atmosphere was awesome.
Yeah.
And
Dan, did you like seeing a full Freedom Hall though?
Yeah.
It's still a great venue.
Oh yeah, a very special place in my heart. I mean, I played there with the Colonels for 5 years. I won a championship on that floor. I love Freedom Hall. I wish that they had chosen to renovate that instead of building the Yum Center. But I understand it. They would have had a renovated old place to play in. So I get it.
I mean, it's actually still that arena was so far ahead of its time from the sightline perspective of getting 19,900 seats that have great sight lines. And it's still a better place to watch a game than the Yum Center. I mean, you can be anywhere in that place and feel like you're right on top of the action.
Yeah, I also have to mention playing there 3 times when I was at Kentucky.
Guess what her name?
We would come up and have a shoot around the day of the game, and Freedom Hall would almost be full for our Kentucky shoot-arounds. It was incredible.
You had to go against a guy named Austin Carr, I guess, during those games, right?
Yep. Thanks to Mike Pratt, we were undefeated. He had, I can't remember if it was I think it was our senior year against Austin Carr. He had an unbelievable game. Might have been the best game Mike ever played.
I think it was.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't know that it's close.
Well, did Austin Carr have 50 in one of those games though?
Oh yeah.
He had a bunch. I can't remember how many he had during the regular season. I know we played him in the regionals, and he had 44 that night.
Yeah, there you go. In your honor, I heard that's what it was.
Yeah. He was just trying to match the number. That's right.
I put 44 on the board just for you.
Do this for Dan. What hat do you have on? I have never seen you in a hat.
This is my trackside farm hat. It's
okay.
It's a farm. It's Tom Evans' farm.
Yeah.
in Versailles, and that's where we keep our horses. And the reason that you are seeing me in a hat is because I didn't wash my hair today.
Oh, how about that? There you go.
Right.
Have you bumped the top of your head on anything recently?
No, I've been pretty.
That's disappointing, man. That used to be like a weekly occurrence when you were on.
Yeah.
We got a guy, Steve, chiming in.
Yeah.
He wants to know, speaking of Torpedo Anna, does it do more for her breeding fee if she wins the Travers than how much it hurts if she loses? More to gain than to lose. I don't think there's any question. I don't think she loses anything.
The other part though is, Dan, one of the reasons the story is so interesting is she was bred for $5,000 and Mystic Dan was bred for 10. So it's not as though they come from these royal breeding lines. Frankly, she's worth a lot more on the track as a filly and a mare than she is off. Yes,
we'll see her run as a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
No question. I think Kenny said that if she runs second in the Travers, she wins as much money as she does winning the other.
Alabama.
Is it the Alabama
that weekend? Yeah.
That's a great point, Louie. I mean, she was a $40,000 yearling. It doesn't matter, how with her bloodline. As Mike said, she's much more valuable on the track than she is in the breeding shed.
Look at Dan giving me credit for the things you said. I like it. Thanks, Dan. All right. We're going to move on to the Bing Crosby, which I've actually been to the Bing Crosby before.
How about that?
There you go.
I bet Dan's been 11 times.
To what?
The Bing Crosby.
I've been to Del Mar 11 times or more. I can't remember if I've saw the Bing Crosby every time.
I will be at Del Mar on Sunday, Dan.
How about that?
There you go.
Have you been before?
Oh, yeah. I've been several times.
Yeah.
You love Del Mar. Yeah.
It's nice. It's better than Keeneland. No.
Why did he cut out there? That's weird. Yeah, no, there you go.
All right, let's watch the Chosen Braun get his 5-for-5 win here.
But the racing isn't either, so I don't know why you made that comment.
Chosen Braun.
And the Chosen Braun is the new leader as they turn for home in the Bing Crosby. The Chosen Braun leads them. On the outside, Jackstown is running a big one. Close the game. Sugar is also battling. Anarchist is down at the rail. They come for home, and just look at this. The Chosen Braun is just absolute class. The Chosen Braun and Hector Berrios win the Bing Crosby for fun.
I'd actually like to go in and run the math on the percentage of Hector Berrios' lifetime earnings as it relates to the Chosen Braun.
Okay.
Like just how much that horse has been worth to him. I'm not kidding. And I'm not mad at Hector. And I'm not mad at the horse. But I think that number's got to be absurd for Hector Berrios. Just a high level of his earnings lifetime from that horse. Dan.
Yeah, I think you're right. That how impressive was that?
He's incredible.
I mean, close the game. Sugar just beat Skelly, who a lot of people think is the best sprinter in the country if he get out of the gate. But I mean, at the head of the stretch, he just ran away from some very nice sprinters. That was very impressive.
So Hector Berrios with just over $21 million in career earnings, and
Chosen Braun's at what, like 1.6 or something?
Probably close. Chosen Braun is at 1.65. Yeah, 1.66.
Over a 5% of his lifetime earnings are from the Chosen Braun.
There you go.
That's great, man. Good for Hector. That's fantastic. No, just fun race. Dan, do you take into account, so Nakatomi wins the Vanderbilt at Saratoga the same day. We see the Chosen Braun win at Del Mar. Do you give more credence to the Chosen Braun's win when we talk about the Breeders' Cup because it happened to be at the site of the Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, that's a great question because he ran so badly in the Breeders' Cup last year. But he seems to like Del Mar. Yeah. And right now in a head-to-head matchup, I think I'd give the advantage to the Chosen Braun.
I agree. Yeah.
Doesn't matter more on the turf or the dirt or the turt, which is going to be a new service where we put the turf.
The turt is what they call whatever that thing is in the middle of Churchill Downs.
That's right. That's the
turt.
The
turt.
That's
the
turt.
Right. The turt. Yeah. Which they're not running on in September. We haven't talked about because I'm so angry about it that I can't talk about it. How about that? Yeah, how about that?
Well spent, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. Bombs. Get it together. I'll talk to Kevin Kirstein tomorrow at 2:00 on this show about the Ellis Park turf races. It's going to be great. Hi, Kevin. Dan gets to talk Saratoga, though. How about that?
He does get to talk Saratoga.
But before we talk Saratoga, we got to talk about something that Dan...
I need to know, are you using your Manscaped products and how's it going?
Yeah, do you enjoy your razor?
I have to be real transparent, guys. I ain't doing that.
It's for your face. You know that, right? I got you the face one.
Oh.
Just because there's testicles in the logo doesn't mean that you can't use it on your face.
No, I got you the straight edge one for your face. I'm not kidding. Yeah, no, I bought the Dan Issel package.
Well, then I'll get it back out of the drawer. I thought it was for...
Well, I'm glad you didn't throw it away. It costs money. Okay, all right. Well, if you use our promo code horse racing,
which I just did the other day, by the way.
Okay.
I'm going to try their deodorant now. That's what I'm actually, and it just came in. So
did I just bump something?
I use it to trim my beard every day.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's, I don't go for haircuts anymore, Dan. I got this going on up here. So, just use the Manscaped. Use our promo code horse racing, 20% off, ship to your house as part of that deal too. Does apply to sale items as well. So get on their site, manscaped.com. Look better. For those of you out there that need a little cleanup down here, maybe you're got a hairy thing going on like I do, go check them out, manscaped.com, for help below the collarbone. Manscaped.com.
Or above the collarbone.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, it all works. I mean, do you, whatever.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the spa racing at Saratoga.
How about that?
Yeah, we're going to start off, with the grade 1 test. I had to just double check to make sure I was on the right race, and now I am. All right, the grade 1 test is a 7 furlong.
Can we start with the Saratoga?
Oh, that's what I did. I'm sorry. You know what it was? Is that I was looking at the link.
Oh, the history. It's on the line below.
And I was looking at that's on me. I'll take it.
You know what though? I changed the show sheet. I did text you to warn you.
That you read links.
But I changed it and I put the links on for you.
Yeah. I appreciate you so very much.
Dan is very not surprised that I put extra links on a piece of white paper.
I'm very impressed that you even knew how to put in a link, honestly. Like it was a shocker to me.
Needless besmirchment, everybody drink.
Yeah. Race 7 is the Saratoga Derby Invitational. This is a $600,000 mile and 3/16 race on the turf. It's going to take off at 3:21 p.m.
Thank you.
That's what it says.
How about that?
All right. Let's go through this real quick. And this is all for 3-year-olds here because it says Derby. So you already knew that. But hopefully, if you've learned anything from that show, you know that Derby and Oaks means 3-year-old. Could you, Dan, who'd you like in this one? Where'd you settle in?
I found it interesting that William Buick and Ryan Moore are both coming to ride in this race. Of course, Buick, the first string rider for Appleby, and Ryan Moore, first string for Aidan O'Brien. I've been bitten by Aidan O'Brien's horses lately. I know that Diego Velasquez is a favorite. I'm chucking him.
How about that?
The horse that I'm going with is the 2 horse, Shug McGahee's horse, and comes out of a wire-to-wire win at Churchill on the turf course that we were just talking about. But this horse looks like, to me, he's starting to come on, and I think I'll get more than that 3-1 morning line.
A grandson of Kitten's Joy, who knows a little bit something about turf racing.
A little bit.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
I don't love any of the horses in this race either, Dan. It's interesting that you point out the 2 Euro shippers here. I mean, Legend of Time has been in the States for 3 races, did win the Penning Ridge a couple back at Aqueduct, but I don't know that I trust his form in this race. He was very good in the Belmont Derby as well. But if we're going to get a price, let's go ahead and take it on White Palomino, who was also really good in that Belmont Derby Invitational, mile and 3/16 at Aqueduct last out. Lost by a head to Tricari, who's turned into just a terrific 3-year-old runner over turf this year. So if I'm going to get 8-1, I'll go ahead and put White Palomino on top of my ticket.
This race has got some pretty good pedigree. Last year's winner was Program Trading. The year before that was Nation's Pride. Chad Brown is the reigning champion trainer here. Am I missing the Chad Brown horses? Oh, there they are. We got one down there at the end, right? So
the one I picked.
Yeah. The one you picked.
My 8-1er. There you go.
Yeah. All right.
I agree with Dan, though, by the way, that Cugino has a legitimately serious shot.
Yeah.
Yes, as well.
The $500,000 test stakes 7 furlongs on the dirt. And this is for fillies who are 3 years old and, Lasix within the last 48 hours of post time. All right. Louie, where did you land on
So
this
Ways and Means is really difficult to figure out because she runs in the slop in the Oaks, doesn't like the 2 turns, runs in the Gulfstream Park Oaks before that, 2 turns again, seems to run out of gas at the end. So I think the 7 furlongs is right. Okay. So let's do that part first. Last time out, she's in an allowance race going that mile, that kind of turn and a half thing they have at Saratoga. Really, they just copied Ellis. We can just say that out loud, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. How about that? She's interesting. I think she's the obvious class. The one that I have, Dan, here circled that I cannot figure out is the 5 in this race. For Mike Maker, my main squeeze.
Yep.
If we take out the 2-turn races for this horse, she's really excellent. Daughter of Audible, Acorn, didn't love it, 2 turns. Fantasy, 2 turns, didn't love it. 1-turn mile in the Maddie May, wins. 1-turn 7 furlonger in the grade 2 8 bells, wins. I'm going to put her on top and try to get a price here, Dan. I'll take the 5, my main squeeze, getting back to the 1 turn that I think she wants to do.
Yeah, I agree. This is where the pick 6 starts. And I can guarantee you all the pick 6 isn't going to pay $360,000 this year. This thing looks pretty chalky to me. I think I agree with you, Louie. I think this is Ways and Means coming out party. I mean, she got 2 wins and a second at Saratoga. She had a 104 buyer the last time out in that allowance race. I kind of thought that the only horse that had a chance to beat her was Brad's horse, not
Denim and Pearls.
Not the 1, but the
2.
Denim and Pearls.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Gets Irad and 8 bells in the slop. She obviously didn't like that. The time before that at Keeneland in the Beaumont, I mean, she freaked. Solid. So I don't think they beat Ways and Means, but I think the 2 horse probably has the best shot.
Dim and Pearls was the favorite in that 8 bells, if I remember correctly. It had a pretty big number of even money, pretty close to it.
I think she was either 4 to 5 or right at that.
Yeah,
4 to 5.
Yeah. So Denim and Pearls, that's the one I'm curious to, what kind of bounce back does Denim and Pearls have after that? That's the last time we saw her was in that 8 bells.
This is the worst angle for Brad Cox, by the way, is this kind of layoff.
Yep.
This amount of time, this is his bad angle, if you want to call 18% a bad angle. But if you wanted to try to play against that horse, I'm with you. But I agree with Dan. That's actually, of the 2 Cox horses, I have the 2 ranked ahead of the 1.
So out of the 2 Coxes, you'll take the second one.
I'll take the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to move.
Manscaped.com.
Manscaped.com.
Sorry, Dan. I'm so sorry.
Race 9. Mile 16th on the inner turf course there at Saratoga. The Lure Stakes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dan. Who did you have in this Mile 16th inner turf course race?
You look at the bottom horse more than looks. And by the way, guys, I think they're expecting rain in Saratoga. And so hopefully these races will stay off the grass. Cherie DeVoe, look at that number. Trainer off of a 6-month layoff, 27%. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So I guess you probably have to start there. I'm going to take a flyer on the 4-horse Irish Acres with Gaglione, Brendan Walsh. I'm going to throw out that race on the turf course. Horses that have run on the turf course at Churchill that underperformed have done very well coming back to Saratoga. Nice setup on July 13th. So I'm going to try to get a little price here with Irish Aces.
Goes 5-1 here with Irish Aces. Tyler Board, Brendan Walsh, trainer. Louie, where were you?
I landed on the 9 as well. All the percentages make sense there, Dan. This is a horse they shipped for the Breeders' Cup Mile. That was that blanket finish that we got to see last November when we were out there. I am really interested if Smokin' Tea rebounds here. Horse that won 3 times last year has only run once at Saratoga over Yielding Go, by the way, in this race in 2023 and won it. Reminder, this is a race. It's a restricted race for horses that haven't won a graded stakes this year, right? So this is a bunch of horses that have been close or maybe have won listed stakes, that kind of thing. And that includes a Smokin' Tea, who's been running in a bunch of these kinds of races, did win the Appleton over a mile at Gulfstream Park this year, ran in the Canadian Turf, didn't win. Arlington didn't win. And so that's why this horse drops into this kind of company. You get Johnny V, you get Shug. I think this horse has a legitimate shot. I think I'm going to get longer than 6-1 on this horse as well. Really interested in Smokin' Tea. And then after that, I looked inside, actually. Forever Super is 6-1 for Javier Castellano. Won last time out really easily at Laurel Park. Interested to see if that translates to Saratoga and is eligible for this race, despite having won last time, because it was a listed stakes, not a graded stakes. And then the one on the inside, Kubrick. Dan, I don't know what to do with this horse. I just absolutely don't know what to do with him. But it's still a Brown. It's still a Chad Brown. Interested in that one as well. But I'll go 9, 8, and 2 in this field.
All right. And of course, we have the 10 horse will draw in if it does. If that rain does come to fruition, take it off the turf, and it goes main track, and that'll be Film Star.
Who we saw at Churchill in the Clark last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Race 10 is the Troy Stakes, $300,000, 5.5 furlong turf sprint for 4-year-olds and up. Louie, we'll start with you here.
Yeah, Troy Stakes. How about that?
The
10. I think your chance at a very, if the pick 6 is going to pay $300,000, it'll be because of this race, Dan. It'll be because something happens with Cogburn where he just doesn't run well. And I'm not anticipating that. I think this is a horse who will be just fine. Won this race last year in soft go. So even if there is moisture in the ground, he should be just fine. Frankly, that was really before we knew that he was going to be this good. And he picks up the Troy last year, goes ahead, runs in that turf sprint. At Kentucky Downs, didn't love that. They bring him back this year at Churchill, then at Saratoga, has won back-to-back under IRED. The buyers are insane. I'll go ahead and use him on top. Interested then
not just like at Churchill, but on Derby weekend and on Belmont weekend.
Correct.
I mean, it was
right.
big weekends.
Thing.
Yeah.
I love Outlaw Kid in this spot. I think sometimes, Dan, in turf sprints especially. And so Outlaw Kid's the 2. This is George Weaver, Flavian Pratt. Won last time out in an optional claimer at Aqueduct in a $1.06. The splits all make sense. And this is a horse that can do his best running from off the pace. And so if there's some kind of breakdown in the speed up front, if it's a little too fast for some of the horses involved, I think a horse like Outlaw Kid, especially with a good ride from someone like Flavian Pratt, can come up, a son of violence here. I'm interested in him in the second spot. So I'm actually going to try a 6-2 exacta in this one, Dan.
Well, I mean, Cogburn, that horse has been a freak. That's a world. That last time out, running 5.5 furlongs in under a minute, that's a world's record. Nobody's ever done that before. He breaks. I think he'd have to fall down twice to lose. I think he can fall down once and still win. But if you look at this race, and Louie, I mean, that's not a bad pick, but you look at the horse on the rail doesn't break. So, right. So he's going to get swallowed up. Your pick is the second. Big Invasion isn't nearly the horse that he used to be. Groom's All Business, has been running at Pimlico and Monmouth, and I don't know who I'd pick to run second, but I don't think Cogburn gets beat here.
XY Speed also very fast coming out of Gulfstream Park, the 4 horse here. But I'm with Dan. It's very hard to look at the paper and the replays and see a horse that's of Cogburn's quality for sure.
The Whitney Stakes is the $1 million main event, mile and 1/8 on the dirt for the older horses. This will get you into the Breeders' Cup Classic. And not only that, it's been a pretty good indicator of who would win the Breeders' Cup Classic of late. We had Nick's Go last year, White Barrio. Where do you kind of settle in on this one, Dan?
By the way,
yeah,
12 horse field for a 2-turn dirt race in the United States, Dan. How about that?
Yeah.
Do you think that we have the Breeders' Cup Classic winner in this field?
Ooh,
no.
Okay,
I'm with you on that one.
No.
Baffert will come in with the favorite of National Treasure, 9-5. Dan, where do you think is he your pick, or is he going to get beat?
I'm going to try to beat him, which is probably stupid. But there's the first race he won this year, the Gulfstream Invitational or whatever they call that thing, You know, Buscador was in there and Krupe, not a great field. He goes over and gets beat by Senor Buscador in the Saudi Cup. In the Met Mile, he goes the half in 45-3. If he goes the half in 45-3, he gets beat. And I think he might have to go the half in 45 because there's a lot of speed in here. You look down at the bottom, the 11 horse Arthur's Ride. The only time this horse wins is when he's on the lead, and so you know he's going. And so I landed on Bright Future. You know, he was really coming along last year. He's 2 for 2 at Saratoga. He threw in a clunker in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Has only had one race back, the Salvador Mile at Monmouth, that he won pretty easily. And so I'm going to go with Bright Future and try to beat the favorite.
By the way, worth mentioning, won the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Saratoga last year as well. And so he obviously has the experience there in that one.
I good for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, I can't. It's second off the layoff too for him. I can't really argue with Bright Future on top. I'll be honest. I do have National Treasure number 1 in my handicapping, but if you wanted to play against him, he's 1 for 4 at the distance. He's a miler, man. I mean, his best runs, Dan, you're right, are where he can be very fast early and then hold on at the end. That 1-turn mile thing in the Met or at Churchill or whatever, it just seems to fit him very, very well. But he looks so comfortable at Saratoga last out that I'm going to take another swing with him. I actually have Bright Future 3rd in my handicapping behind Arthur's Ride, who's lightly raced, but seems to have really relished the distance last time out. Dan really loved going the 1.25 miles up there at Saratoga. So if Junior Alvarado can give him a similar ride where he's actually able to rate a little bit, he might actually have to sit off a National Treasure in this one. I think he's got a legitimate shot, and I'll take 8-1 all the time. Is this the race where Skippy Longstocking does what White Abarrio did last year?
Maybe, but
could this be his true coming out party?
It could be.
Because he's won some nice races. I mean, he wins the Charlestown Classic. That's a grade 2. He's won, the Oakland Handicap this year. That was a grade 2. So it's not as though he hasn't won at the high level. He's at $2.4 million in earnings, right? This horse is worth almost nothing as the son of Exaggerator in the breeding shed. So they're going to run this horse. Is this the spot where Skippy Longstocking, the 10 jumps up here? I think some kind of combination of 9, 10, 11 will be one of your winners at the end.
I think you're actually going to see. I think you can see a number win this race.
Okay,
and you got, and I'm going to go with Krupe.
Okay,
won that Suburban and on at Saratoga. Yep. Can take the step up here, and I think you could. And I think it's not unrealistic to see El Morocco or a horse like that can come in here. I think this could be a place where you just kind of come in and see a big number who could potentially win this race. Dan,
how are you playing?
No
Saratoga on Saturday. First mission, and that's a Brad Cox horse for Dan and I not to mention that horse.
Exactly.
Dan, does that mean that horse ends up winning?
I don't know. This is this is another horse. The biggest win he had this year was in the Slop. I don't know. I just don't think he fits with Skippy Longstockings. Beat him last time out. I just don't think that.
Part of that early pace.
Yeah. I'm with you.
It's part of that early pace. I think Il Miracolo's faster than he is. It's a weird thing to say, but I do.
If you see a 20-1 number on Il Miracolo, it's worth $2.
It might be, man. It might be little Antonio Sanel. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dan, how will you be playing Saratoga on Saturday? There is a pick 5 starting in race 7 that includes all of the stakes. You mentioned the pick 6. You do not strike me as a $1 pick 6 type player, but I could be wrong. How will you be playing on Saturday?
Yeah, I'll play the pick. I'll play the pick 5, the all stakes pick 5, and we mentioned Scott. The amazing thing about Scott's ticket last year was it was $240.
Yeah,
and the only reason it was that much is because he didn't have enough time to handicap the last race.
Yeah.
He had, in the other 5 legs of that pick 6, he had a single, 2 horses, 2 horses, 3 horses, and 3 horses. Pick 6. You're right, Louie. I'm not a pick six player, especially the jackpot thing. I don't like that at all. So I'll play the all stakes pick 5 and hope I can beat one of these favorites. And if I don't, I won't have enough to take Sherry out to dinner.
Well, there you go. You've got Cogburn as your single of the weekend, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Who's your most likely favorite to lose? Is it National Treasure?
Yes.
Okay.
You still have to pay for dinners in Denver?
I'm sorry?
You still have to pay for dinners in Denver?
Yeah, it's Lexington where it's free.
Yeah, Lexington's for sure free.
Oh, free. Yeah.
Have you ever used your credit card and
get on it. Stop it.
No, it's never happened, right? No.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
All right, Dan. I'm going to Del Mar, like I said on Sunday. Hoping we were gonna do a little handicapping with that, but literally the PPs came out like right before our show, so we're not doing that. But I'm going to a part of Del Mar that I've never been to, so I'm curious to see if you've ever been to the restaurant on the 6th floor, Il Palio, which of course is named after the horse race in Siena.
I have not.
Whoa.
Okay.
I have not. We always seem to find our way down to the beach at some oceanfront restaurant.
No, this is one of the restaurants at Del Mar. We rented out the entire patio of this restaurant, 6th floor. It's above the finish line. That's where we're going to be.
Oh no, I didn't even know it existed.
There it is.
Good. Now Dan's going to come to Breeders' Cup, not get a credential with us, and just.
I want to be clear. Mike didn't invite Dan to this restaurant he rented out.
I've got 5 tickets left out of the 80 that we bought. So Dan, you've got a ticket if you want to go. So.
How about that? Start driving, Dan.
You and Sherry.
Get the car now. Let's go. Well, Sunday at Del Mar. Why not?
Let's do it. I'll even buy your first drink.
Dan, also, before we let you go, what the hell were the Cubs doing at the trade deadline?
I have no idea. I'm so disappointed in the Cubs. I come down, I go up to my office and watch them, and I come down and cuss the whole time, and Sherry wonders why I continue to watch them. They have so much talent for the record they have. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, there you go. Well, Cubs break down on the horse racing happy hour. How about that?
All right, last thing. Does Team USA win the gold in men's basketball?
There you go.
If they don't, they ought to never come back.
I just can't. I do not enjoy watching this team play at all.
Do you know what they remind me of? Do you remember? Either this last World Cup or the World Cup before, the women's national team was just full of players I didn't enjoy, and they were good, but like I couldn't find myself rooting for them. I'm getting that way with USA basketball. It's not good, man.
Well, the 3-on-3,
hate how they play.
The 3-for-3
garbage.
Women, yeah. Oh my god.
Total garbage. It's awful. Yeah.
Basketball.
Oh man.
Zero.
All right. I haven't watched.
We'll get you on right before the election, Dan. Okay, does that sound good?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Well, good. All right. Are you coming to Del Mar with us for Breeders' Cup this year?
I hope to. Yeah.
All right. How about that? Okay. Turned 76 right around then. I'll have to have a party.
There you go.
All right. Okay. A little 76 party. Maybe on the 6th floor.
Did you guys see the Facebook post last week that said I died?
You did?
Somebody posted on Facebook that I passed away. And the first call, nobody called me. They were all calling Sherry.
Well, if you died, you wouldn't answer. And so,
Judy Dampier was the first call Sherry. And she said, have you seen Facebook? Is Dan all right? Sherry said, well, I'm sitting here next to him. He looked at
All right. This is the first show we've done with a ghost.
Oh my God, Dan. Please don't die.
Oh my God.
So if I'm still
pretty sure we'd make that trip.
Oh my God, that would crush me. Don't do that, man.
I'd like to
if I find out on Facebook, by the way, people, I'm taking out all of you. We're not doing that. Nope.
Well, how else do you think you're gonna find out?
From Sherry.
You think there's a personal call there?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I do. I think someone in the Issel clan will call me. I do think that.
All right.
Dan's living another 15 years though.
Yeah, easy. He's gonna
be the tallest 90-year-old man on the planet.
There it is.
There it is.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot.
We'll
Thanks for joining us.
All right,
Dan. We'll see you, buddy. All right, get him out of here, Dan Issel, the GOAT.
What? Anything? Any parting words here?
What a guy, dude. I died on Facebook last week.
I gotta go find that post.
I can't. It must not. How the hell did I not get that sent to me 50 times? How did that not happen?
I must have only been.
I really don't understand that at all. My God.
But Louie saw it, so it had to be, had to leave Colorado.
Damn Pierre's wife.
Yeah.
He's long shot.
Oh, by the way, we're back at it 2:00 tomorrow. Me and Barry Spears. How about that? And Kevin Kirstein. What a random trio that is. Previewing Kentucky Downs preview Saturday and Sunday over at Ellis Park. We got 7 races to talk about tomorrow.
All right.
There you go. I'll also have Matthew DeSantis on the show. He'll give his Whitney opinions in the morning on Rubo and Go. So there you go.
I like Matthew DeSantis, by the way.
Not a bad dude.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, does good work.
Good
I was
job.
on with them on Tuesday. Had a good time.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. I'm just searching Facebook for Dan Issel to see what pops up.
Play the music, Zach.
Yeah. We gotta get out of here. Yeah. All right.
Poor Iss, man. Can you imagine?
This is not dead. The horse racing happy hour.
Viva!